disgruntled gamer rant. You ready?
I'm ready.
You sure?
What do you want me to do? Say, oh yeah, brother. Like,
there you go. Shit. All right. So our disgruntled gamer rant today, we were thinking about this one, but we wanted to go with the death of game manuals.
It's crazy.
Because we did talk about it. It was one of our one of the top 10s from last week. We had game manuals as like
menus,
something we missed, right? Or something that only middle-aged gamers knew about, like those big thick game manuals from games and stuff like that. So Grant, what game off the top of your head that you remember the game manual from?
Street Fighter 2.
Street Fighter 2. Yeah, that's a good
Street Fighter 2, Mega Man, and because I would always want to read like who the monsters were you had to fight, because you couldn't just tell off the box, But Mega Man, Street Fighter, I remember because it tells you what karate style they were. Man, it was like really in depth. They gave them like a background, like they even had their blood type on there. Blood, you know what I mean? Like I didn't know I needed to know that. I didn't know that 𝐸_HONDA was blood type O. Interesting, but not all that stuff, man. Like they were so in depth, and they would give you story, and you can kind of like on your ride home from the video store, what you did, you open up the manual and you read it all the way home. That way, and that kind of you didn't have to really understand the background of the game. You could read about it before you played it.
Yeah. The one that struck me the most was probably A Link to the Past. That was one of the ones I remember the most of because it had all the cool artwork in it for like the enemies and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, Final Fantasy 6 had a good game manual.
It was big. Yes.
Yeah. Final Fantasy 6 had a great one.
For the Super Nintendo, yes. It was big. Because it had all the characters in there. And I remember saying, like, golly, this is you can play with a lot of people.
Yeah, so like the point of this DGR, this disgruntled gamer rant, is like we're not going to ever go back to that.
No, I know.
It's gone. Like,
I feel like what they should do
physical copy of games are just steadily disappearing unless you get like a collector's edition now.
I feel like if they made collector's editions of the manuals with like in depth, like, and here's the thing is, I understand that even if you charged a premium for them, people will still buy them just because I think there's enough demand out there for them. You know what I mean? Like, let's just say, for example, let's just say, let me ask you, let's say they had a 𝐿 obscure manual. It was a thick book, right? I mean, it didn't come with the game, but you had to buy it separately. Would you still buy it?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I would.
Exactly. I still think there's a demand.
I'm talking about strategy, guys. I'm talking about just manual.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Is I think there's a demand for this stuff still. I think they've gotten too caught up in the digital because digital is so much easier. And yes, that is true. But the thing about it is people still love nostalgia, man. Like nostalgia still has a market.
Yeah, and kids nowadays, they won't understand. Like, let's say you're with your parents, they buy you a physical copy of the game, right? And on the ride home, you're opening up that case and you're reading the game manual as you go home.
For good or bad, because sometimes
nowadays do not understand that.
Sometimes I ran the game manual home like, oh God, what did I get? I just
that Double Dragon 3 when you
open
up
man. No. Double Dragon 3 was different because it was Double Dragon and you thought you knew what you were getting because the first two are great. You're like, oh man, I can't wait, and then you were completely disappointed about halfway through the day.
Super Mario Brothers, they all had pretty good game manuals too.
Yeah. I mean, but like you said, you mentioned it last time, and I remember The Legend of Zelda because it had all the monsters in there, told you all their names, and
Well, it had the artwork, like Link with a sword and shield looking over a canyon and stuff like that. They
showed all the items you're supposed to get.
Had Zelda in there. They had a lot of things in the game that they made a art picture of, right?
Yeah. That
you would later recognize in the pixelated version in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought that was cool how they did that.
Yeah.
Razortooth, $10 for Switch 2 instruction manual. The two I remember are the original Zelda and Final Fantasy. Yep, Final Fantasy
Yep.
6
Yep.
manual and maps. Dude, honestly, dude, like,
We took that shit for granted, man, because I wish I still had all that stuff. I
because
know, man. One, because they're expensive now, and two, I just wish I had them just to have them because you can't find them for cheap. I mean, you have now is the market. You have to have a lot of money if you want the stuff again.
and I had all these cases too, like the box
Exactly.
covering. I used to have all that shit. I don't know what I did with it. It's all disappeared in the woods of Mississippi.
Somebody's got them.
Yeah. But yeah, like, dude, like my favorite memories were of getting a hand on a game from wherever, buying it from Walmart, wherever, and then riding home, reading the manuals, and then popping in that game when you get home.
Yep.
It's you just that's gone.
Yeah. That's the sad thing about it. It's gone.
Now it's fucking phones, and the kids are just fucking glaring at like YouTube videos or some shit on the game.
Let's talk about. Let's switch to in a sense, and the same thing. The strategy guides,
Oh,
dude. They were so in depth, and they had illustrations. Like I remember, and I probably still. This is one I probably still have. Remember, I showed you that container of stuff that I found, and it's probably in that container. I have an original Breath of Fire 2 strategy guide, and that thing was like this thick.
Yeah.
I mean, it literally talked about every single thing in that game. And I remember I read that thing, like I would read it when I wasn't even playing the game.
This is the one I had. This is one of my favorite ones. It was such a good, because it had all that, anime style art in it too for the game and the characters.
Oh yeah. I remember you having that. I remember you having that because I used to want to borrow that, and you're like, I don't know where it's at anymore.
Again, that strategy guide was legit. Look at that Squaresoft too.
And have you noticed? I mean, outside of like the collectors, I mean, the collectors editions they do where you get figures and stuff like that. Do you notice that how games don't do anything outrageous anymore? Do you remember Earthbound? They had like the big ass fucking box. Like you know what I'm saying? Like they don't do it. I mean, yeah, it costs more money, but they don't do anything outrageous anymore for games. You know what I mean?
It's just the collector's edition.
I mean, I know that, but I'm just saying, like, I wish they did like big ass, like fucking give me a big ass case. I don't care if it takes up half my room. For the next Final Fantasy, give me a big ass Buster Sword. You know what I mean? Like, or whatever. It don't have to be like a real one, but like it could be made out of fucking paper or whatever. But like something cool like that. They don't do shit like that no more, man. No
I
promo
do this for
stuff.
My daughter a lot, like for the new Zeldas that drop.
Yeah.
Dude, my daughter, like, she has they're hardcover books for like Breath of the Wild.
I've seen those.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I got her that for the game, and then I found like an encyclopedia for Zelda.
I've seen that. I saw that at Walmart. It's like this big, yeah.
A monsters fucking almanac.
Yeah, I've seen those. That's cool,
dude. Her shelf. She has like 10 different Zelda hardcover books, and one for
stuff
Tears
like that's
of
cool.
the Kingdom.
Yeah,
dude, I got all that shit.
Dude, that stuff's cool though, man. And that's the thing about it.
Yeah,
and all that stuff's gone. Like, give me a plastic Master Sword. Like, I don't have to. Like, give me something cool. Give me something.
I bought her one of those too.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but they don't have any more promo stuff.
Yeah.
Like I used to think.
You have to find this shit like on Books A Million and
yeah. But I'm just saying, Amazon. Like when Earthbound came out, like we thought it was ridiculous, but it was cool. Like, look at this big ass, like this thing's like a box like this big. Like, where am I going to put this? But you look back on it, it was like, man, because that was the game everybody talked about. Because you remember back then, Earthbound wasn't just like a super popular game. It didn't get really popular until like almost like the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. Because I remember talking to my mom, but like, Mom, what is this game? My mom was like, look at that game with the big old box. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? But that was what it was known for. And now if you have that game and it's sealed, it's like a $40,000 game.
This is another one I had.
Oh, yes.
Secret of Mana, dude. That was a really good guide, too.
Yep.
Because they did the same thing with all the art.
I had the Final Fantasy VII one.
Yeah.
I think I borrowed it from you. I think you had it, and I borrowed it from you. I think I ripped
it's always
it.
Like that. You always borrowed everything, never gave it back.
Because here's the thing is, I knew you were going to get it. I just waited my turn.
You have a treasure trove somewhere.
I do. It's probably all your stuff.
Of all my shit.
I'd be like, here's the thing is I used to
Probably already eBayed
psychologically.
all that shit.
No, I didn't. I wouldn't eBay that stuff. I'd actually keep it and seal it if I could. Sometimes I'd actually psychologically, because I knew Ed would get it. I'd be like this. I'd be like, man, it'd be a good game. Man, Final Fantasy IX would be a really good game. And then I'd let Ed buy it, and then I would borrow it. I was waiting for him to
I
get
already
it.
knew Final Fantasy IX was a good game.
Then I just
You didn't
borrow
have
it
to
from
tell
him.
me to buy a Final Fantasy, dude. Back then, I bought it immediately, or my parents did. I didn't buy
No,
it.
dude. Back then, dude, we're working. Remember, we're washing dishes. We had that job. We had
When
that
Final
job.
Fantasy IX came out?
Yeah, they were in 11th grade.
Oh, were we? Yeah, we were. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we were washing dishes.
Working, that's right.
We're making
We had that one
$75.
game store over by the Kroger. Remember that little, like, where they had the Dragon Ball Z tapes at?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And CDs
yes.
or DVDs?
Back then, here's the thing is we used to make fun of people who play Pokemon because we didn't understand it. Now I wish we would have bought them because they're like
We got in early.
I know. That's the thing is we just didn't know anything about it. That's what it was.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, so game manuals, the death, they're done.
Oh, man, bring them back, man.
Them again.
Bring them back. They would make them killing.
Well, Nintendo Switch, they stopped doing game manuals too for their games.
Everything's digital. We don't give a shit about digital.
Like even their hard copies games would like come with this like little fucking piece of paper sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, no, here's a QR code for the manual.
Exactly. I don't want to scan nothing on my phone and my battery die halfway through.
Saving money. All right. So let me close that. All right. That was our disgruntled gamer rant.